Alright, so in less than 12 hours time, we are going to be getting the new mid-month banner. In this case, a new 1000-year Blood War banner, the first for mid-month. Very surprising, and in this case, the banner itself is bringing us a new Byakuya and also Nödt, the first Nödt in the game. Now, these two characters are actually really good in my opinion. They're not the best characters in the game, which is a bit unfortunate considering the fact that they are 1000-year Blood War characters, especially for Nödt's first character in the game. But I do think both Byakuya and Nödt, especially Nödt, are actually pretty good characters, and definitely worth summoning if you like the characters. And in my opinion, the only reason why you should be summoning on this is if you just want to play as Byakuya and Nödt. If you're a meta head and only want to summon for the best of the best, continue saving. This is a pretty easy skip. For those that do want to play as Byakuya and Nödt, lucky for you, since it is a mid-month banner, the chance of getting your character relatively early is actually quite high. Of course, you can still always get shafted, RNG is still at play here, but since it is a crown summons, it has the really good step-up format. We'll talk about it more in a minute, but every 3 steps, you're basically guaranteed a 5-star, and then step 10, you're guaranteed a new character. So if your idea, like me, is just to get one of the two, the least you're going to spend is 2,000 orbs. Now, one thing to keep in mind about this banner too is that since it is a mid-month, there are no individuals. This is the only banner to get these two characters, and the banner itself is here until the 30th. The second this banner does leave is when end of month does officially start. Since there are 30 days this month, on the 27th, we will find out what end of month is going to be. And because this is a mid-month, and despite it, being a pretty hype mid-month, I still recommend if you're kind of low on orbs, to wait and see what end of month is going to be first. In the potential chance that end of month is super exciting, it's another 1000-year Blood War, maybe it's Monster Eisen, we have no idea what it's going to be. It might be disappointing for all we know. But the benefit of this banner is that it isn't going anywhere, and if you are someone that is curious to see what end of month is going to be before deciding to summon on this banner, you can do that. And I encourage you guys to do that if you are somewhat low on orbs. Because the last thing you want to do is summon on a banner like this, and then maybe something even better, more exciting comes out in 2 weeks' time. And had you just waited 11 days, you could make a better decision if it's better to summon on end of month or mid-month. With that said though, let's talk about the two new characters. First up, let's have a look at Nödt. Nödt is a Mind Quincy Stammeter with the no affiliation kill ability, and having a closer look at his damage output, he has a really high damage output. Like, absolutely insane for a mid-month character. He comes with Frenzy +2. When he does inflict a stat augment, he gets an 80% stat boost to his spiritual pressure stat, and alongside that, since he can apply both weakening and also slow, a pretty interesting combination, I will say, and it makes sense for his fear ability. But in this case, since weakening does allow you to do 50% more damage, he also does have 2 more skills that allow you to do 80% more damage to the enemies you are inflicting with a status augment. So damage output is really, really high here. It does come with some caveats though, keep that in mind. His SA2 does provide him with a barrier, a 5-hit barrier for himself, a 3-hit barrier for your teammates, so he is reliably going to stay at full stamina. And he does come with the extra recharge. He actually has 20% recharge, the highest in the game, so his strong attacks are coming back a tad bit faster, but since his SA2 is a barrier move, it doesn't inflict a stat augment. And this character is somewhat reliant on inflicting stat augments, right? He wants to get the SP boost, but at the same time, he also wants to do damage to the enemies he is inflicting with stat augments. And unfortunately, since that SA2 is a barrier, it doesn't have any stat augments. So, unfortunately, this character is reliant on inflicting stat augments on his Nurturing, SA1, and also SA3, which might slow down his DPS just a tad bit. Keep that in mind. Like, the skills that he does have is great, but he's held back by a tad bit because of his strong attacks. I don't think he has a bad kit, far from it. It's just that the SA2 being a barrier doesn't do any favors when he's a character that wants to inflict stat augments. But other than that, he has Debilitator, he comes with a 20% Havoc, and he also has Sharpshooter. Overall, very solid and really good mind character. Has some problems, he's not perfect, but he's definitely a really good and usable character. If you're an Nödt fan, you're gonna have fun with him. And you can take him into a lot of different content, but just understand he's not the best mind character in the game. There are better characters and better options. As for Byakuya, he is a Technique Swordpick Captain with the no affiliation killer. His soul trait is a 30% more damage at full stamina. Really good soul trait for doing a lot of damage on your soul bomb, especially in epic content or Senkumon content, for example. Now, Byakuya is more of a guild quest centered character, but once we're having a look at his damage output, he has Frenzy +2. When at full stamina, he does have an additional 40% more strong attack damage, and when you do apply weakening, you then get 40% more damage to weakened enemies. And remember, weakening is already 50% more damage, so essentially, when you do inflict a stat augment, you're doing 90% more damage. Alongside that, he does have a boost SA2, which unfortunately can't inflict any stat augments, but it is providing his team with a 43% attack, defense, and also focus increase. So overall, once more, for another mid-month character, damage output is really good. He also has some really good strong attacks to back it up. Unfortunately, though, as has been the talk of the town, he is lacking Havoc. So while he does have good strong attacks, they are lacking 20% of the range. So that's something to keep in mind when you are using him. We have kind of been accustomed to Havoc type gameplay, and when you are playing with him, you are going to notice the lack of Havoc. But again, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But what can potentially be a big deal, especially if you are deciding to take him into content that isn't Guild Quest, he unfortunately doesn't have any way to keep himself at full stamina, and he wants to be at full stamina, right? He has the 30% more damage of full stamina soul trait and 40% more strong attack damage as a skill. Lucky for him, in Guild Quest content, where he is kind of designed for, he does have start barrier, and he is really good in Guild Quest content. And as far as melee no affiliation boosters go, the two main characters you are going to use here is this Byakuya and also Spirits after with you Soifon. Both are pretty good and do their own different things. Soifon is probably the safer character to use here, but Byakuya is also going to be really good here as well. So yeah, overall, Nödt and Byakuya are pretty good characters. Nothing super crazy, you can afford to skip them, but if you pull them, you can definitely make use of them. As for the other characters though in this banner, because it is 1000 Year Blood War, we expect 1000 Year Blood War fillers, and the fillers we've spoken about so many times in the past now, they aren't anything too crazy. And the only good filler here in my opinion is basically Misaki. She's really good in Guild Quest. As of right now, still the best no affiliation ranged booster. Pairs well with Nödt potentially, right? But Misaki's really good. Ishin, good strong attacks, lacking on the damage output. Now is a team booster for the range of Sparta Guild Quest, but lacking on the damage output, nothing too crazy. Candice, Bambi yet again, decent characters at best, lacking on damage output. Arskin is a Brave Battle character and can still somewhat be used, but isn't really the best character in that mode. And then Senjumaru, again, very similar to every other character in this banner. Good character, just lacking on damage output, so not really that usable. As already mentioned though, the really good thing about this banner, and this might be the first time you ever summon on a mid-month past step 2, is that it is a really good step up format, right? Every 3 steps, you're basically getting a guaranteed 5-star. Step 1, 2, discounted. Step 3, guaranteed 5-star. Step 4 and 5, discounted. Step 6, guaranteed 5-star. A usual banner, you have to do 5 steps to get 1 guaranteed 5-star, and in this case, you're doing 6 steps. 4 of those steps are discounted, and you're getting 2 guaranteed 5-stars. After that, step 7, 8 are once more discounted, and then step 10, you are guaranteed a new 5-star character. Now, there's a lot of misinformation going around about this particular step. I get it, not everyone's done it, but the way step 10 and 20 work is that you're guaranteed either Byakuya or Nödt. It's a 50-50% chance of either or. If you have Nödt, it doesn't mean you're guaranteed a new Byakuya. It's always going to be 50-50 regardless of who or who you don't own in the banner. And then of course, step 25 is guaranteed a character of your choice, Nödt or Byakuya. So while it is a tad bit unfortunate that Byakuya and Nödt aren't as good as we wanted them to be, the very least though, it is the good step up format, and step 10 guarantees you Nödt or Byakuya, and that's my plan for this banner. I have plenty of orbs to spare, so I can afford to go to step 10 on this. If I didn't, I would wait to see what end the month is first, but since I've been waiting a very long time for Nödt and Byakuya, I just want to play as them. I could care less how good or bad they are, would have preferred if they were more broken. I always expected Nödt to be Kyogre level OP, and I'm a tad bit disappointed he isn't that level, but he is still good enough in my opinion, and good enough for me to go to step 10, since I am guaranteed either him or Byakuya. So when I do summon tomorrow, my plan is to try and get Nödt. If I get him earlier than step 10, I'm going to stop. If not, I'll go to step 10 and just take a banner character and walk away, regardless if I get Nödt or Byakuya. But I'm curious to know what your summon plan is in the comments below. Let me know. If you are summoning, good luck. And remember, this isn't a must summon. Only summon if you like the characters. And at the same time, if you have the patience, wait to see what end the month is going to be. And if it doesn't interest you, then maybe go on this banner if you do really want the characters. Are we summoning tomorrow? No idea if I'm going to be live or not. It might just be a video. We'll see how it goes. See you guys next time though. Take care and peace.